Have you ever eaten a big steak, checked your ketones, and suddenly felt like your ribeye betrayed your keto diet? You look at the meter and think, wait a minute, did this steak just turn into cake? Today we're answering one of the most confusing questions in the low-carb, keto, and carnivore world. Am I eating too much protein to stay in ketosis? Here's the big idea. Protein can affect ketones, but protein is not the villain. The real problem is that many people chase a ketone number while forgetting what the protein does in the body. Protein is not just food. Protein is structure. Protein is repair. Protein is muscle. Protein is immune function. Protein is enzymes, hormones, neurotransmitters, skin, hair, and healing. So if you undereat protein just to make your ketone meter happy, you may win the ketone game, but you lose the muscle, metabolism, and aging game. This is like selling your house to buy a nicer mailbox. Now let's start with the myth. The myth says too much protein turns into sugar. That sounds scientific, but it is incomplete. Yes, your body can make glucose from amino acids. That process is called gluconeogenesis. But gluconeogenesis is not mainly supply-driven. It is demand-driven. Your body does not automatically turn every extra bite of steak into sugar just because protein showed up. Your liver is not sitting there saying, oh good, chicken breast, let's make donuts. Your body makes glucose when it needs glucose. Why? Because even on keto, certain tissues still need some glucose. Red blood cells need glucose because they do not have mitochondria. Parts of the kidney use glucose, and parts of the brain still use some glucose, even when ketones are available. So gluconeogenesis is not a flaw. It is your backup generator. The mistake is assuming protein behaves like carbohydrates. Carbohydrates raise glucose directly. Protein has to be digested into amino acids. And those amino acids have many jobs before glucose making is even considered. So saying protein turns into sugar is like saying wood turns into a house. Technically possible, but there are many steps. And your body has a project manager. Now let's talk about ketones. Ketones are made in the liver when insulin is low. Carbohydrates are low, liver glycogen is reduced, and fatty acids are flowing into the liver. The liver takes fat and converts part of it into ketone bodies, especially beta-hydroxybutyrate. That is your alternative fuel. But ketone production is sensitive to insulin. Insulin is like a traffic signal. When insulin is low, fat flows more freely toward ketone production. When insulin rises, even modestly, the liver may slow ketone production. Here is where protein comes in. Protein can raise insulin, but protein also raises glucagon. That matters. Insulin helps amino acids enter tissues and support protein synthesis. Glucagon tells the liver to maintain blood pressure and support fat metabolism. So protein creates a coordinated hormonal response. That is very different from sugar. A donut raises glucose and insulin together. A steak may raise insulin some, but often without a glucose spike, because the insulin is helping manage amino acids, not cleaning up a sugar flood. Now, some people do notice ketones drop after higher protein intake, and that can happen. Why? Because protein can slightly raise insulin, and insulin tells the liver, slow down ketone production for a bit. Protein also gives your body amino acids it can use for repair, energy, or glucose making when needed. So ketones may temporarily dip without meaning you ruined ketosis. A temporary dip in ketones does not automatically mean you are out of fat burning mode. It may simply mean your body is using the protein signal to build and repair tissue. That is not failure. That is metabolism doing grown-up work. This is why we need a better question. The question is not, how do I keep ketones as high as possible? The better question is, what level of ketosis supports my goal without sacrificing muscle, strength, satiety, and health? Because not everyone needs the same amount of ketosis. This is where we separate therapeutic ketosis from lifestyle ketosis. Therapeutic ketosis is used for conditions like epilepsy and certain neurological disorders. In those cases, ketones may be part of the treatment. The ketone level itself may matter. This is when protein may need to be more carefully controlled. But lifestyle ketosis is different. If your goal is weight loss, type 2 diabetes improvement, better appetite control, lower insulin, less inflammation, or metabolic flexibility, you may not need very high ketones. You may simply need low enough carbs, low enough insulin, stable glucose, and a sustainable diet you can live with. For therapeutic keto, ketones may be the medicine. For lifestyle keto, ketones are often a marker that the metabolic switch has flipped. That distinction matters because if you treat lifestyle keto like epilepsy keto, you may unnecessarily restrict protein, and that can backfire. Now let's talk about the most important concept, the protein floor. A protein floor means there is a minimum amount of protein your body needs to function well, not a maximum, a floor. Think of it like the foundation of a house. You do not decorate the upstairs bathroom before making sure the foundation is stable. Protein is that foundation. Your body needs enough protein to maintain muscle, organs, immune function, healing, enzymes, skin, hair, and hormones. When you eat too little protein, your body still needs amino acids. So where does it get them? Your muscle. That is why chronically undereating protein can lead to muscle loss. And muscle loss is not just cosmetic. Muscle is one of the most important organs of metabolic health. Muscle stores glucose. Muscle burns energy. Muscle improves insulin sensitivity. Muscle protects you from fragility. Muscle helps you survive illness. Muscle helps you age with independence. Muscle is your metabolic retirement account. And I do not want you spending your retirement account to impress a ketone meter. This becomes even more important with age. As we get older, muscles become less responsive to protein. This is called anabolic resistance. A younger person may get a strong muscle building signal from a smaller protein dose, but an older adult often needs more protein per meal to get the same signal. So ironically, the people most afraid of protein are often the people who need it most. A 68-year-old woman trying to preserve muscle should not be told to fear protein just because her ketones dropped from 1.5 to 0.8. That drop may matter far less than preserving her strength, balance, and independence, because falling and breaking a hip is a much bigger problem than not winning the blood ketone Olympics. Resistance training also changes the equation. Exercise tells the muscle, we need to adapt. Protein gives the body the raw materials. Training without enough protein is like sending a construction crew to a job site with no bricks, no wood, and one guy named Larry holding a hammer. Larry is not enough. You need materials. So if you lift weights, walk regularly, do physical work, or want to preserve lean mass during weight loss, protein becomes even more important. This is why too much protein needs context. Too much for whom? Too much for what go? For therapeutic ketosis, protein may need to be more limited. For reversing insulin resistance while preserving muscle, adequate protein is often protective. For older adults, protein may be essential. For athletes, protein may be a non-negotiable. So instead of asking, is protein kicking me out of ketosis? Ask, am I eating enough protein to protect my muscle while keeping carbs low enough for my goal? Now let's make this practical. If your ketones are lower than expected, do not blame protein first. Check these things first. Are hidden carbs sneaking in? Are keto desserts, nuts, sauces, dressings, or low-carb products adding more carbs than you think? Are you testing after a meal instead of fasting? Did you sleep poorly? Are you stressed? Did you exercise? Are you eating enough fat to support ketone production? Because ketones are influenced by many things. Protein is only one dial on the dashboard. And sometimes people stare at the ketone dial while ignoring the check engine light. Here is another important point. High ketones do not always mean more fat loss. Ketones are fuel. If you eat a lot of dietary fat, your body may produce ketones from the fat you ate. That does not automatically mean you are burning more body fat. This is why someone can drink butter coffee, see higher ketones, and still not lose weight. The ketone meter may be clapping, but the waistline is sitting there like, we need to talk. For fat loss, the goal is not simply making ketones. The goal is accessing stored body fat while preserving lean mass. Protein helps because it supports satiety and protects muscle during weight loss. This is why the protein floor often matters more than a ketone ceiling. The protein floor protects what you do not want to lose. The ketone ceiling is the number you do not necessarily need to chase. Protein floor first, ketone ceiling second. Eat enough protein to protect your body, then adjust carbs and fat based on your goal. For many people, a practical protein range is roughly 1 gram per pound of desired ideal body weight. Active people may need more. Older adults may also benefit from the higher end, especially if they are resistance training or trying to avoid muscle loss. And yes, people with advanced kidney disease need individualized medical guidance. But for most metabolically focused adults without advanced kidney disease, protein fear is usually overblown. Now for carnivore specifically, this gets even more interesting. Many carnivore eaters are not chasing ketosis as the main goal. They may be chasing symptom relief. For some, removing plant foods, fibers, lectins, oxalates, fermentable carbohydrates, or other triggers may improve digestion. So if IBS symptoms improve on carnivore, the benefit may not be the high ketones. It may be from removing irritating foods. This is why I personally do not obsess over ketosis. For me, the bigger issue was eating whole animal foods that did not irritate my digestive tract. Ketones can be helpful, but they are not the only hero in the story. Sometimes the hero is removing the trigger. Sometimes the hero is stable glucose. Sometimes the hero is better satiety. Sometimes the hero is muscle preservation. And sometimes the hero is not eating foods that make your colon file a formal complaint. Now, one more nuance. Ketones may fall over time even when you are doing everything right. As people become fat adapted, the body may become better at using ketones. So fewer ketones may be floating around in the blood. That does not always mean you are making fewer ketones. It may mean your tissues are using them efficiently. Think of ketones like delivery packages. Early on, packages pile up because the system is new. Later, delivery becomes efficient. Fewer packages sitting around does not mean the factory shut down. It may mean the packages are getting delivered. So what should you track? If your goal is therapeutic ketosis, work with a trained clinician and measure blood ketones carefully. But if your goal is metabolic health, fat loss, satiety, diabetes improvement, or carnivore symptom control, do not let the ketone meter bully you into under-eating protein. Track the markers that matter. Fasting glucose, A1C, fasting insulin if available, triglycerides, HDL, waist circumference, blood pressure, strength, energy, hunger, sleep, and how you actually feel. Those markers tell a fuller story because the goal is not to worship ketosis. The goal is to restore health. Ketones are a tool. Protein is a building block. Muscle is protection. And metabolic health is the mission. So no, protein does not automatically ruin keto, but your protein needs must match your purpose. For therapeutic keto, ketones may need to be higher. For lifestyle keto, adequate protein usually comes first. For aging adults, muscle preservation is critical. For athletes, recovery matters. For carnivores, symptom relief may matter more than ketone numbers. And for everyone, the root cause matters. If your real problem is insulin resistance, inflammation, processed food addiction, poor sleep, chronic stress, and low muscle mass, then fearing steak is probably not the solution. The steak did not cause the metabolic fire. It might actually be part of rebuilding the house. So here's the line I want you to remember. Do not bankrupt your muscle to impress your ketone meter. Hit your protein floor. Keep carbs appropriate for your goal. Adjust fat based on energy, satiety, digestion, and body composition. And use ketones as information, not as your identity. And if this helped you finally understand protein and ketosis, like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who thinks chicken breast is secretly a cupcake. And check the playlist and resources below for more videos on low-carb, keto, carnivore, and metabolic health. I can't wait to see you in my next video.